Hello everyone, and welcome back to this episode on Bitcoin trade. Last episode, I kind of went over some ways people would try to make money on trading at the exchanges, and I guess this episode I'll go over um, the other ways to realize your money if you're trading at the exchanges. Um, Without going through wire transfers and all, being charged all fees and everything like that. And the other way was, other thing I want to talk about, I guess from the last episode, was generating revenue from selling your bitcoins out in the physical market. So basically, you're bringing bitcoins to market in a real physical, non-digital world, so to speak. So, first of all, let me go over something real quick. And again, it kind of stems back from the last episode of trading and everything. And I wanted to share this with you because I tried doing this on Mt. Gox, but I didn't see my limit order go through. But I tried to put a buy order above the current price. So if it ever had a breakout like this, something like this would, some big move like this would be considered a breakout because it's following, breaking out of a channel. They call it a channel, and so that's something you can research that, but I did want to talk about it because I think if you are a trader that trades on channels, which most traders do, you'll like trading Bitcoin because I'm not sure it has anything to do with the fact that you can't put a buy order above the current price, and you can't put a sell order below. Let me see. Did I get that right? You can't put a sell order above the current price, and you can't put a buy order below a price. If I think that's right, I'm not sure. Anyways, I tried doing a limit order for something that was above the price to put a buy, and then sell for below. Yeah, that's it. So I put a buy above the price and a sell below the price, and my limit orders didn't go through. It has to be a sell above the price and a buy below the price. And I think that's why it follows the channel really well. And so you're kind of seeing some real genuine price action. So anyways, kind of want to share that, and the reason why I want to share that is you're looking at Mt. Gox here because that's the account I have, so I follow this charting. Right now it's at 983. It was high. It reached a high of 1,022.99, which is here. And sorry if I'm so low tech, but I'm sure you have a computer and you can look up this stuff. Sorry about that. So let me try to see if I can get it to focus. There we go. Anyways, so this is just a 15-minute graph. I'm just doing this to show, for anybody new who doesn't know about channels. This is kind of like a recent channel I made. Some lines. You have to draw some lines, and I noticed that they've kind of upgraded some things. They used to just have the crosshairs, which this is, and then now they had the lines, which this was. Now they got, let me see, what are they calling it? Fibonacci, something, and then they have the Fibonacci fans. There's kind of something to them, but I don't use them personally. I've tried, experimented with them. I don't get it. So, anyways, but I managed to make very good trades without them so far, just to let you all know. So this is something I recently did based on new price action movement, okay? And so I'm going to back out, and so you can kind of see what's going on. And these are just new lines I made. So if any of this makes sense, it's because I put it there. So, and we'll just keep going out until you start seeing some channels. Okay. So the whole idea of lines and channels is that they flow through a certain particular parallel high and low. And of course you don't know that until it starts forming. So if I was at this point, I wouldn't know any of this. And that's the problem with following channels. But there's ways to know when they're breaking out of a downtrend channel and an uptrend channel. I'm trying to get it to focus, but oh well. And so a way to know is, you have to unfortunately draw more lines, but until you start seeing something clearer. So I'm going to draw this line here. Of course, you want it to the highest to the next highest, and you'll get something like that. So you'll see the lines hit, and then when it breaks out of this resistant downtrending line, and it's a break, it could be a break from the downtrend and going back up. So, oh, there it is. Now you can see it. So, of course, the thing about this, and you can play around with it. I do like using it. It does help. This is not the only thing I do, but there's other things I do. And I guess another episode I can talk about those things if anyone's interested. I guess it's if you have any curiosity into it, you can, whenever I make that episode, you can watch it. But I just wanted to show these lines, and here's the thing about it. It makes sense because I put those lines there. That's the tricky part about doing lines. Okay? So you don't know until after it happens, and then it makes sense. But you don't know while it's happening and where it's going. You just kind of know where it's been and where it might go. So it's kind of still a gamble. So and the reason why I'm showing you this is here. You look at this. So you saw the lines I made, and I made these lines because I don't know where it's going to break out or it's resisting, and I'm guessing as the price action is moving. So originally my line was down here, and I noticed that it did break. It broke out of this downtrend right about here. So I drew another line just to make sure, and sure enough, it excuse me, touch screen. Oh, there we go. There. Sorry about that. Okay. And where was I? So I made another line, and interesting, right around here, it just follows that downtrend pretty darn good, and then breaks out. And then I drew another line from here and where it broke out, and now you see this support line on the uptrend. So in the 15-minute chart, I mean, it looks wonderful, right? But this is recent. And then let me show you another set of lines that I've been keeping track of since it broke out of the long downtrend. And this is totally different. But let me back out. I mean, you just have to draw a lot of lines, but when you back out, you start seeing things, and they start to make sense on where the price action is and where it might go. So this is same thing as the last one, except I actually been trading all this time going down and then trading also going up. So this is my longer, like I've been keeping track since top, down, and up. And this is the lines that I get. Now, as you back out and you see the whole thing, it looks, yeah, it kind of looks similar. This is, I got the resistance and then the break out of that resistance up to an uptrend. And then you see this line here, which, since that's the new high, I'm placing another resistance line down here. And if you look at this, as I zoom in, you'll start seeing a lot of things, like you'll see a triangle. And basically you'll see a bounce up, bounce up, bounce up, bounce up, bounce up. And then this is where you kind of have to take the gamble on where it's going. Is it going to break up or is it going to break down? So, again, for those of you who know trading on channels, you already know this. Anybody new, I hope this is helpful. So let me zoom back in, and then you'll start seeing a lot of, as I zoom in, you'll start seeing a lot of things that are happening, especially when you get to the 15 minutes. Okay. So now you kind of start seeing something, a pattern here, even at the hourly, where this is the top, bounces down here, falls, hits here, bounces back in between this channel, dips one more time, and these are new lines as I'm making them. So now I'm starting to get to see where the pricing may or may not go between the overall channel. And if you look, these aren't anything from that bottom is a new line, and that's about it. I'm zoomed in so far. All these are previous lines that I've made, and I've been keeping track for a very long time. And if you look at where they, on a 15-minute chart, where they hit, it just seems to just move in that direction for some reason. So this tells me there's a lot of people out there trading on channels, and they may have drawn the same thing I have, or they may have drawn just that part. It's kind of interesting, but then again, it can be very confusing as hell. So I just want to share that with you. It's kind of like a carry on from the last episode of trading, how people can make money on this. So anyways, let's get back to what I wanted to talk about, and which was, okay, other ways to, what are other ways can you realize money if you're trading, from trading, okay? And I did discuss that, and basically it would mean to take possession of the Bitcoin. There's a couple ways. You can actually realize your money through the exchange. Some have certain limits, some charge a percentage and a fee, and then your bank probably charges a fee. I don't know if you have that much money or not. Some don't, depending, again, how much money you have with them. So, but you're most likely not you can't quite get the money out in a timely manner if you want your money out now. Like I said, the quickest way to realize that money, to touch it and spend it, is from a person to person who has that much money that they want to buy your Bitcoins. And so it can range from anything, $20, $1,000, $10,000, $1 million. Usually larger monies don't get into like cash. It's more of a wire. And if you're wiring $1 million and it's like cost you $45 or whatever, $50, $100, sometimes for some people free. That's pretty safe to do, because $1 million is a lot to move physically. again, this all goes back into uh, what I was talking about before in my first episode, which was the um, moving physical commodities and the challenges of logistics uh, versus Bitcoin, which is digital. You can just move it very low cost. So, anyways, so how do you realize it? Um, okay, I'll go over some of the exchanges. You can. I've never tried, but supposedly you make a request, um, put in your bank number. If I'm in America, my account is with Mt. Gox. I believe Mt. Gox is in Japan, so for me it would have to be a international wire transfer, and supposedly it takes a while, and I don't know if they charge a percentage or not, and I don't know if any of your banks would charge a percentage. So supposedly that's one way. And then the other way would be to sell it to another person for that amount. Another way to maybe perhaps realize money, and maybe not realizing money, but realize you could spend your Bitcoin. So you take possession of it and purchase. Like if someone's willing to trade a car for X amount of Bitcoins or whatever, or maybe accept a service as of today, not today, but I believe what is it, Overstock.com was taking Bitcoins as payments. So you can buy something. That's one way to realize it's not quite like money, but maybe if you bought something with Bitcoins, something nice, and then you can sell that nice thing that you got for whatever reason, because you basically traded and you were very profitable on your trade. So it's basically almost like free money. I don't know if you want to think of it that way or not, but considering you traded and you got your original investment back and all this is just profit, it kind of does feel like free money, you know. Another way is you could buy, you take your Bitcoins and buy gift cards. I think that's another way. And then, I don't know, buy groceries or things. So, but if you want to realize it for money, like hard money, you can go to localbitcoins.com, and I keep addressing that because there's no other market for something like this other than localbitcoins.com. Maybe there's some other over-the-counter, but so far that's kind of what I've been using. If anybody has any other sites they want to recommend, feel free to respond to this, make a comment. That's fine by me. I'm just telling you my experience, and that's what I've experienced so far. But you can do a lot of things. You can do person to person, wire transfers, cash deposits, and that's all I'm going to mention because that's all I really recommend. In maybe another episode after this, I'll talk about how there's a lot of people who scam or who are scammers, and you got to watch out because this is a money game, and even though this is not Bitcoin, this is done with US dollars anyway. Some of the scams out there are fraudulent, mainly due to the current financial system of the credit cards and the chargebacks. So if you see anybody trying to ask you for PayPal or any third party, if it's not a bank, it's probably a third party. If it's not a bank, it's got to be a third party or a credit card. So a credit card of some sort or any third party, I wouldn't recommend it. And there's a couple of reasons. Scammers like using those kind of things, a third party or credit card, because they could be stolen or claimed as you didn't have to pay. I think PayPal, you can't even, you know, buy Bitcoins with it because they're considered quote unquote as a currency. So, um, and you know, as it's kind of weird. A lot of people talk about Bitcoin trying to kill the U.S. dollar. It's ironic. Um, it's somewhat ironic. I'll go into another episode on that, but um, as much as um, people don't want people are getting into Bitcoin to get away from their fiat currency, because they don't trust the banking system. It's kind of weird. I still need the banking system, even though I'll be honest with you. I do need the banking system to protect my money, my fiat money, okay? And in a way, to some extent, Bitcoins, because Bitcoins, everyone wants to know where does Bitcoin get its value, because there's quote unquote no intrinsic value, right? Well, I don't know if it really has to have any, but other than the fact that we can use it for an exchange, but people want to know, why is it going up to $1,000, $1,200, whatever, $800, the value of Bitcoin comes from the fiat currency that we buy it, so right now somebody paid at one point 1,299 cents for it, so that's where its value comes from the currency itself, which I'll get into another episode on that. But anyways, let's see, where was I? No, anyways, I think I lost my place. But let me see. Let me go over my notes. Ways to realize money. I think I covered it. If I lost track, sorry about that. All right, and the next thing I wanted to talk about, because I gotta kind of wrap it up, I'm trying to keep this episodes fairly short, is generating revenue if you're going to be buying and selling out on the market. And the market, I mean also the streets, and the streets, I mean Main Street, Wall Street. Okay, so when I say Main Street and Wall Street, two different groups that can utilize Bitcoins. Main Street would be merchant style, people who use it as a means of exchange, as a currency, or as a way to, I guess, invest. Or it could be just a hobby, collection, novelty. Who knows at that point? There may be some people who are serious about it, and they like to be very private about this matter. So there are people who might actually have gold and see this as another vehicle for storage of wealth, so to speak. So they'll buy it and they'll hold on to it, and they're not going to trade it, or they'll use it for money or whatever reason. They're going to Europe and they hear that this is better than money. Who knows? I get all sorts of reasons. Some people want to do whatever. Who knows? Also, maybe some people want to start trading with it as well. Like I said, all you have to do is just buy Bitcoins, and you can load up that Bitcoin to any exchange and start trading, even though if you're not verified yet. They only want to verify you if you ever want to really cash out. But you can open an account, I think. I think so. You can open an account, and then you can start loading Bitcoins. and then sell and buy, whatever you want to do. But and then the second group, what I would call Wall Street. Not that I'm going to New York. Typically, when I talk about this group, I'm talking about people who are investors. They play the money game all the time. And they play for big money. $100 moves for them is could be 100,000, could be $1 million. They just made $1 million. So there's these group of people, and I'll talk in some other episodes here later on. I just don't want to get too far into it, but there's ways where you can approach these groups, and they have money, and this is I'll share with you guys here, for all the people who subscribe and are fortunate enough to watch this video. People who have that kind of money to invest in Bitcoins, who can buy 10 to 100, 200 Bitcoins, they don't do cash deals. This is where you're gonna have to be in a legitimate business, working out in the open through the banking system, if you're gonna work with investors. So again, I keep reiterating this from my last episode. If you're a criminal, this is probably something you're not going to be doing. But this is where your relationship with your bank and trading US dollars and Bitcoin at that high level, buying and selling, requires you to be a legitimate business and the use of a financial institution. So there's that group, and there's a certain risk to it. Okay, it's a private exchange. It's not, when I say investors, I don't mean like a firm. Usually someone who's very wealthy and would like to, again, it's an asset class for them to diversify their portfolio, kind of, thing. So at that level, that's a different game, but that's another way of generating revenue, is supplying these investors. Now, some of them may be heavy traders. Some of them may never trade. They just have that much money. They've heard about Bitcoin. They believe the same thing I believe, that Bitcoin will go up to 10,000, 100,000, who knows, maybe even 1 million. Because you got to remember, like, there's only a limited amount of these Bitcoins that are going to be generated. I've heard stories, where people. So apparently, there's one story where someone threw away their laptop, and their Bitcoins were on the laptop. So, or their all the information they can, in order to have access to their Bitcoins, was on their laptop. So, and that's destroyed. I mean, things like this happen all the time. So, if you think about all the Bitcoins out there that are going to be made or available, how many of them are actually in existence? So, a lot of people have belief that this is going to be $1,000 right now. That's actually pretty cheap. So, anyways, I'll wrap it up here. Sorry if this was a little too long. I think in the next episode, I'll go into more detail of Main Street versus Wall Street, how developing relationships with, if you're lucky enough to find someone who can supply you. Typically, they're anonymous, private investors, of mining rigs. Is the way I can describe them. They're anonymous. They usually work with a particular individual in finding, I would say, people kind of like me, um, who kind of believe in Bitcoin and would like to see Bitcoin out in the open market, more out in the open market. So um, if you're ever fortunate enough to develop a relationship with any of these mining pools, or these investors who own mining rigs, consider yourself very fortunate. So anyways, I'll talk about how you can get into the investor side of business, and also the Main Street side of the business as well. There's something there as well. So by that time, you pretty much become what they call, I would think you would call a market maker at that point, where you're bringing Bitcoin out to the market. And for people who invest and trade, that's something they understand. So anyways, thanks for watching, and feel free to comment, like, dislike, even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.